One-of-a-kind guy. Coming up now as we turn to our feature fight of the evening, as we said, a familiar name in Ricardo, Alvarez, and he will get it on with a guy who could conceivably give him some problems.
Well, these two junior welterweights, both 5'7", but Alvarez has a major 4.5-inch reach advantage, and Salka's moving up from lightweight. You'll see that he added only 2 pounds since the weigh-in. Excuse me, he added about 8 pounds, but Alvarez added 15 pounds. So he's the much bigger guy naturally and the much bigger guy right now.
All right, so it should be an interesting fight. Alvarez wants to come forward. Salka, strictly a boxer and a mover, should make for an interesting fight. We'll find out. But right now, let's get to the official introductions of the fighters as we take you once more to the center of the ring and Jimmy Leonard Jr. Jimmy?
Well, fans, from the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio, Texas, Golden Boy Promotions in association with Leja Bata Promotions and Canelo Promotions present Showtime Extreme action in the super lightweight division, sponsored by Corona, AT&T, Grudge Match, and Casamigos Tequila. This bout is sanctioned by the WBC. The supervisor is Chuck Williams. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring, all from the state of Texas. Ruben Carrion, Ruben Castillo, and Oren Schellenberger. Our third man in the ring, the referee in charge of the action, is Lawrence Cole. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing for the WBC Continental America's Super Lightweight Championship. Introducing you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing black trunks with gold trim, hailing from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His weight 138 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 18 wins, 2 losses, with 3 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the WBA number 15 ranked lightweight contender, introducing Lightning Rod Salka. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with white trim, hailing from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. His weight 140 1/2 pounds. His record 22 wins, 2 losses, and 3 draws, with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked the WBC number 13 world contender as a super lightweight. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Ricardo Dinamita Alvarez. And once again, we have our referee in charge, Lawrence Cole, now to give instructions.
Do you know almost every ring announcer
all right, gentlemen,
the referee for the last-minute instructions except Michael Buffer?
You told me you were doing this fight.
And with that, we're set to go with our second fight of the evening and our feature fight here on Show Extreme. Ricardo Alvarez, one of 7 Alvarez brothers. 3 of them remain fighting. They all were fighters at one time or another.
All on one card, which is pretty amazing. We see Canelo. And what's interesting about Canelo versus Ricardo, who's much older, about 8 years older, is that Canelo came to America pretty early and fought here. This is Ricardo Alvarez's first fight outside of Mexico. So first impressions obviously key, and given that he's 32 years old, it's important. And here's Salka. He was brought into the ring by Paul Spadafora, one of the better fighters out of Pittsburgh in recent years.
Been working with him since he was a kid from a very small town in Pittsburgh, just 20 miles north of Pittsburgh. Banula. He said 200 people, officially 380. And he's a guy who's not going to roll over. 18 3. Mover, jabber, not a real threat to get you out of there.
Certainly a step up for Salka. He has that 18-2 record against average opposition. And the style here is pretty clear. Alvarez aggressive. He says he's even more aggressive than his brother, who mixes boxing and pressure. And Salka, very, very few knockouts. Much more of a mover. Likes to move his head, use his legs. But you can see how much bigger from the waist up Alvarez looks.
Yep.
He's got a big weight advantage right now.
This is the fight that Salka wanted to fight. Move, score with a jab. Comes with the right hand there. Pretty quick jab from Salka early in this fight. Salka trying to make Alvarez come to him. Nice left hand there.
The power shot from Alvarez is usually the right hand.
And Salka is moving to his left.
Into the right hand power.
Yes.
But the head movement combined with the foot movement is giving Alvarez pause, and right now he's getting a little frustrated. He's trying to get inside. It's only the first round, obviously no rush. But Salka's doing a very good job of implementing his game plan right now.
Very much so. 4-punch combination from Salka. Salka clearly outworking Alvarez in this first round.
And so far, at least, you see the difference in defensive strategy. Salka moves his head a lot. Alvarez just lifts his gloves up, lets his opponent punch.
Salka's jab is not just a show-me jab. It's a pretty sharp jab.
And quick.
Yeah. No, when we talk to him, you know, every now and then you kind of get the sense of a fighter that's there maybe just for the payday. I didn't get that sense at all from Salka. I thought he was a guy that's coming in here at least giving himself the very best chance to win.
I totally agree, Barry, and that's what makes it an interesting matchup, in that both fighters at this point in their careers really need to make a statement. First time on TV for both guys, and they're both 30 or older.
Final seconds of round one. And a very effective round, I thought, for Rod Salka.
Clearly his round, Barry.
There is brother Canelo Alvarez wearing the Muhammad Ali hat. He's had some success in this building. Remember the crowd the night he fought Austin Trout in this building?
What an atmosphere, Barry. 40,000 fans. And you see he hurts Austin Trout right there. We thought it was a pretty close fight, but Canelo did win. And there's the knockdown with the right hand by Canelo.
First time Trout had been down in his career. And to the joy of the crowd here in San Antonio, Canelo Alvarez won that fight, and we're going to see him again just after the first of the year. March 8th will be the next appearance of Canelo Alvarez. Question, of course, who is he going to fight? That question has not yet been answered. We feel answer to that is forthcoming.
Forthcoming, yes, indeed. But you know what? Given his charisma, given his fighting style, given his youth, the fact that he lost pretty clearly to Mayweather, it does very little to diminish him in my eyes.
I completely agree with you, let alone in the eyes of the Mexican people.
That's for sure. What is it, 78 share in Mexican television when he fought Mayweather? But right now it's about Ricardo, not Canelo. You'll notice Ricardo does not have red hair.
He does not.
Stop! No punching.
Ergo the nickname Dinamita as opposed to Canelo, which means cinnamon.
Cinnamon, right. I'd like to see better defense from Ricardo Alvarez. He's not moving his head at all.
He's getting out-quicked.
And he's going to have to either turn the heat on or land something significant. Maybe he needs to press a little faster. It is a 10-round fight. He doesn't have to be in a rush, but Salka's getting off and Alvarez isn't.
Alvarez trying to step it up a little bit here in round two, but he's still getting out-quicked. As again, Salka steps in with a couple of body shots.
We pointed out Alvarez's weight advantage. Not all that different from when his brother Canelo fought Mayweather. Canelo had a big weight advantage, but when the fight is totally fought on the outside, that weight advantage doesn't count for much.
And you got to like the way Salka's kind of moving in and moving out. He's not fighting a defensive fight by any means.
Constant lateral movement, especially after he punches. That's going to frustrate Alvarez.
But again, you know, we mentioned this before, but every now and then, you know, we get an opportunity to meet with the fighters the day before the fight, and sometimes you can just see it in a guy that he's confident he's going to win. I'm not trying to say it always works that way.
Well, he just got hit for the first time in the fight. And he was along the ropes, so no surprise. That can't be where he fights. Salka's an interesting guy, Barry. He's promoted almost all of his own fights. And usually when you promote yourself, it's sort of like in court. If you defend yourself, you have a fool for a client.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to promote. He's not promoting this fight, of course. Recently signed with Golden Boy.
Yeah, and so far he's making him not regret that signing. A little swelling under both eyes of Alvarez. Not anything that's really a big problem right now.
Now we see a little head movement from Ricardo Alvarez, perhaps trying to suck Salka in a little bit. Not a bad strategy. If you can't find them, have them try to come to you.
Right hand from Alvarez there. Oh, and a left hand dropped in. It was after the bell, however. That punch was after the bell.
Wow, that'll be interesting to see what residual effect that has in round 3. Clearly he was dropped by a left hook.
Does not appear to be hurt.
No doubt, Barry.
Yeah.
You called it. It was clearly after the bell. It was only a split second after the bell, but nonetheless after the bell.
Also, upon a second look, there was a push involved as much as there was a punch.
Spadafora, one of the better defensive fighters of his era. If he could teach Salka how to slide away from that left hook, Salka's got, he's halfway to winning. Much closer second round. Big second half of the round for Alvarez. I still gave it to Salka.
So did I.
And you certainly can't score that last punch because it came after the bell.
Salka got in trouble at 2 times he approached the ropes.
Connects in round 2, 14-13, the show stats tell us, in favor of Salka. So much tighter round.
Yep. Salka's still quick.
Well, Salka's been 10 rounds a couple of times. It's not a new distance for him. Clearly the stakes and the quality of opposition are different from what he's used to. Alvarez, on the other hand, he's been 10 or more about 4 or 5 times.
Now he wants to get out of here, Salka. That's where he's gotten in trouble.
The old Ray Leonard trick is when you feel the ropes on your back, spin immediately.
Yep.
And if you have the legs to do that, you'll stay out of trouble.
Uppercut slipped in by Alvarez.
Pretty clear from here, Barry, that Alvarez is the harder puncher.
Yeah.
Salka has to land in combination.
Much better round for Alvarez here.
He's picking up the pressure.
Yeah.
Stepping more lively to his man, no doubt about it.
Three-punch combination from Salka.
And the difference in power on those punches is considerable. Yeah. You really could see it. Salka just stinging Alvarez. Alvarez punching hard.
Salka ducked into that left hand.
Watch what happens after Salka jabs. Does he bring his left hand back up? Alvarez is going to time him with a counter right hand. You can see it coming because that left hand is low and lower by the ground.
A very good point, partner.
It's all about legs right now for Salka. Does he have the legs to do this for 10 rounds?
And this has been a very effective, clearly the best round of the fight for Alvarez. Well, still to come tonight, On Showtime Championship Boxing, we're going to be seeing this guy right here, Babut Shumanov. He's only had 14 fights, has won 13 of them, but is starting to make himself a name in the light heavyweight division. And he gets it on with a guy who doesn't know very much about, Tomáš Kováč, who comes out of Slovakia, former police detective in Slovakia, but a guy that knows how to fight. And when we talked with Shumanov yesterday, he said there was one guy who was at the end of the rainbow for him, and that's the guy right there. And that could be said about a lot of guys.
Well, Barry, it's so weird that a young fighter is calling out a guy old enough to be his father. It just seems almost unnatural.
Well, he feels that it's a defining fight. Let's concentrate once again on the fight that we're watching. Alvarez, very good round.
Yeah, you saw that counter right hand right there. I think there are going to be opportunities for Alvarez to land more of those counter rights if Salka keeps his left hand so low.
This is round 4.
In round 3, for the first time in the fight, Alvarez out-connected Salka. Most of the shots were power shots. Easy round to score.
Nice right hand slipped in by Salka. And another combination from Salka.
Salka can sting Alvarez, but I don't think he can hurt him. And over the course of a 10-round fight, that could ultimately be the deciding factor.
He took a left hand from Alvarez just a moment ago. He does get a little lazy with his arms. Left hand again.
Now this looks more like round 1 right now, but you see Alvarez bending at the waist, bending at the knees in an effort to get under the jab and get closer. All that really does is make Salka use his legs even more.
Short right hand from Salka. Caught Alvarez ducking in midway through round 4.
Well, there are plenty of counter-punching opportunities for Salka also. He took advantage of it there. It's important that Salka mixes it up a little bit, mixes up the speed of his jab, where it comes from, whether he steps forward with it or not. He can't get predictable, because if he does, Alvarez is going to time him.
Right hand, but there was a counter punch from Alvarez.
Salka's been down only once in his career. Alvarez never down.
Salka is still being first.
It's a good comeback round for him, Barry.
Yep.
After a 3rd round that was very one-sided in Alvarez's favor.
Well, he's kept the fight for the most part in the center of the ring, and that's where he wants it. Kind of getting in, getting out.
Now that's something we haven't seen much. Salka clinching. Again, if there's a lot of that, that big weight advantage that Alvarez has will come into play.
Much better round, I thought, for Salka.
I'll give him the round.
You have to hit it more downstairs. And more pressure and more to the body. And even if you hit the arms, it's okay. But you got to put more pressure on him. Counter punch. It was a good defense. But you got to do the combination of defense with hitting him. Keep jabbing him.
Very strong round 4 for Rod Salka. And that's the kind of right hand that could do serious damage. Only problem is Salka not a puncher at all. 3 KOs in his 20 fights.
So we come to round number 5, midway point of this 10-round fight. See if Alvarez can do what his corner suggested. A little more pressure.
Looks like Alvarez committed a little bit to coming in behind the jab a little more this round,
which he has not done very much in this fight. And Salka got the better of that.
You almost expect Alvarez to just say timeout and yell at his opponent, stand still already. Because if he
so
did,
I can hit you.
Yeah, exactly. If he did, I think he'd get a knockout. But Salka's not playing his game.
Don't you hate that?
I know. Not all that different from what Canelo had fighting Mayweather, and he couldn't find him, and he couldn't hit him.
There was that counter left hand that you talked about.
Well, when they're on the inside like that, it would favor Alvarez to stay on the inside. There's been very little infighting in this bout, and that's to Salka's credit. That doesn't mean there won't be in the second half of the fight if Alvarez keeps the pressure on.
Good right hand over the top by Salka.
Alvarez, not the hardest guy in the world to hit, but you have to ask the question, is that because he knows he can't get hurt by Salka, who's not a puncher?
What Salka is doing is out-quicking him.
This is going to be a very interesting second half of the fight.
I think so.
Because even if you gave Alvarez a round that I might have given Salka, it's a close fight. I'm going to give Salka this round unless something crazy happens here, and I'm going to have him ahead. But the pressure and the size advantage Alvarez has would seem to favor him over the second half more than in the first half.
Yeah, I've only given Alvarez one round. I beg your pardon. Yes, I've only given him one round. Again, Salka is just quicker.
Alvarez lacks a few of the subtle skills that his brother has, and maybe that's because he didn't start boxing until he was about 20. Didn't turn pro until about 27.
He is number 4 in the chain of 7 brothers. I'm telling you, in my opinion, another effective round for Salka. Talk about a big night of boxing here as you look at a guy who has just done everything could be asked of him. It seems to be getting better every out. Leo Santa Cruz, and he gets a pretty tough test tonight, too.
A couple of years ago, Barry, American fight fans didn't know this guy at all. And now he's fighting for the 7th time in a row, either on CBS or Showtime. And there's a reason for that. When you throw 100 punches around, people want to see you fight. And he's not ducking anybody. He's fighting good quality competition consistently. And he's in tough tonight with Cesar Sato, who's a good fighter from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, guy who he's going to have to chase very likely, but he's a busy fighter, crowd-pleasing guy. Meantime, an entertaining fight here on Show Extreme. Rod Salka out of a little town in Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania. Ricardo Alvarez out of a big city in Mexico.
Well, if you're Alvarez or you're his corner, you might want to tell him, all right, this is the start of the second fight of the night. The first fight was 5 rounds. Now you're fighting 5 new rounds. Let's take control from the start, win every round. Pressure him like he's never been pressured before. You do that both by jabbing your way in and moving your feet. You have to move your feet to get close enough to get into punching distance and against the guy who's really moving quite a bit.
Yeah, he's moving, and he's just doing enough to keep Alvarez off of him.
And Alvarez has given Salka too many free shots. When Salka punches in combination, there's nothing coming back at him. Nothing to dissuade him from moving his hands. So he feels he can score anytime he wants. He's not getting countered.
You know, the other thing to consider, too, is if this fight does go to the judges, there might be a tendency to think because Alvarez is Canelo Alvarez's brother that maybe you might look at the fight a little bit differently. However, Salka is the golden boy fighter.
He is. Interesting. You see a running total there. Big punch edge for Salka in this round. Alvarez not getting off at all. Halfway mark, he only has about one connect. He's jabbing, but he's not jabbing effectively.
And once again on the ropes is Salka. It's the only time he's gotten in any trouble in this fight. Again, left to the body, right to the head. And he extricates himself from the ropes.
Interesting fight for the judges, Barry, because Salka clearly landing more often, Alvarez clearly landing much harder punches. But I think Salka's punch connect rate is high enough that he's in control.
Yeah, and they're not really pity-pat. I mean, he doesn't really turn him over. He's not going to get you out of there with one punch, but everything's in combination. And there again, it was left the body, right to the head.
And because Salka's moving so much, he hasn't taken very many shots to the body. Nothing will slow you down more than fighting a bigger fighter who pounds you to the body. That hasn't happened.
Now, there is a little bit of a welt under the left eye of Salka. There's a three-punch combination from him again. All those were short.
Salka sticks out a lot of slow baby jabs. Alvarez has to counter that punch with a right hand. It's there to be had. He's in range.
And a three-punch combination again by Salka. In the crowd, Canelo Alvarez obviously a little bit concerned about his brother Ricardo.
He should be.
Yeah, he should.
Let me take a look at action from round 6. Wide right hand, but again, that time Alvarez did counter with a left hook. Didn't land it clean. And we talked about Alvarez not being too successful with body shots. There he sets up the overhand right with the jab to the body. That's a veteran move. Alvarez swings and gets air. A couple of good rounds in a row for Salka.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he's dictating the fight. Certainly throwing more punches in combination. Certainly out-throwing Alvarez.
Salka with a fight-high 88 punches thrown in round 6. That's a good sign, Barry, because if he speeds it up in the second half of the fight, then he's going to keep control.
Salka not quite as active early in this 7th round. Up against the ropes where he doesn't want to be. Sharp right hand from Salka. Caught Alvarez ducking in.
His timing is so superior. As you pointed out early, Salka's movement mostly to the left, yet Canelo, I'm calling him Canelo. Yet Ricardo Alvarez cannot land that right hand. He can't time it. You see Salka almost solely moving to the left.
Dug a left hand to the body. Good right hand there by Alvarez. Very good shot.
Yeah, that was his best punch of the fight other than that hook that dropped Salka after the bell.
There's a right hand from Salka. And another right hand from Salka. Uppercut by Alvarez.
Well, as we enter the later stages of this fight, Barry, all Alvarez seems to be able to do, and it's what he has to keep doing, is apply pressure and hope that he breaks his man.
And he is a little bit more in punching range here in this round. Took a combination from Salka right there. Salka again, busier than Alvarez.
And in scoring the rounds, you know, 1 or 2 big shots from Alvarez are not enough
Big left hand right there. That definitely got Salka's attention, but he comes right back with the right hand of his own.
So you're measuring 1 or 2 or 3 big shots around versus 15 pity pat shots. Some judges may go for the power.
Well, that's the question. Nice uppercut again by Alvarez. Alvarez had more big punches in this round. Still 30 seconds left, and I think the round is there for the taking still.
Yeah, this is a close round, Barry. I agree 100% with you.
Very close round. Well, coming up later on Championship Boxing here on Showtime, this is a guy that a lot of people are saying a lot of good things about. Matter of fact, I think you and I are 2 of them.
Oh, yeah. He's done nothing wrong, Keith Thurman. He's been very impressive, and he, as much as anybody, is benefiting from the fact that this division, the welterweight division, is on fire.
And fighting a tough journeyman. Every time you write Jesus Soto Caras off, he's back.
Exactly. Action from round 7. I still haven't decided who I'm scoring that round for. There's the big, that's the puzzle right there. Alvarez landing the bigger shots. Huge right hand, probably his best punch of the fight. And then Salka sets up the jab with the right hand. The difference is the power. Salka doesn't have it, Alvarez does, but Salka's still here. And keep in mind, 15 of his 18 wins have come by decision, so he's used to going the distance.
We come to round 8 of this super lightweight fight. And clearly, Salka wants to keep this in the center of the ring. The only time he's really gotten in any kind of trouble is when he's on or near the ropes. Double jab from Alvarez.
Just to give you an idea, Salka's a pretty smart guy, Barry. Yesterday, when we met him in the fighter meetings, I said, I watched a few of your fights on YouTube. He said, well, I only put up bad performances on YouTube so people will see it and think, oh, I could beat that guy. So it's a pretty intelligent guy.
Exactly. And you know what? I hate to say this, but he is a guy who will get fights. And the reason is he doesn't knock guys out. People are going to want to fight him, and of course, he beats them.
Well, this is a huge last 3 rounds for both of these guys, because if Ricardo Alvarez, he's going to get opportunities because he's Canelo's brother. We know that. But he's not going to be taken seriously as a potential contender if he can't win this fight. And he was talking about getting a shot at Omar Figueroa, one of the lightweight titleists or interim titleists or whatever he is. That's going by the boards if he doesn't pick it up here and win some of these last couple of rounds.
Right, and that's a guy who can punch.
Yeah.
There was a right hand from Alvarez. Alvarez certainly busier now. And there's got to be a sense of urgency coming from his corner, I would think.
Well, the right hand is there for Alvarez. Just a question of timing. Because Salka's left hand's low consistently now.
Right hand from Alvarez. And a left hand from Alvarez. Slapping right hand from Salka. And a big right hand from Alvarez.
Alvarez getting closer, Barry. You said it a round or 2 ago, and it's certainly the case. Look at the distance. Salka actually stepping forward now. He's
combination from Salka. But you're right, he's very much in Alvarez's wheelhouse. He steps in with the combination once again.
This round, just like the one before it, pretty close, and it's up to Alvarez to tell the judges, hey, I'm landing the bigger shots. There it is again.
Yeah, big right hand, another left hand. Caught Salka stepping in. Salka could be getting a little bit tired.
Well, the ring geography and geometry would tell you that's exactly the case.
was a headbutt during the course of that round. Take a look at this.
Yep. It was high on the forehead of Alvarez. No cut, though. And then later in the round, Barry, right on the button, that right hand. And that punch is there for Alvarez. It's going to be the key for him winning the remaining 2 rounds.
Fight means to you. If you win this fight, it's good for you. It's for your career. You got to put the heart in this fight. You got to attack a little more. You got to attack, counter punch a little more. Don't lose yourself.
You can see the welt under the left eye and alongside the cheek of Salka.
Alvarez with the same corner as his brother Canelo. And Barry, how's this? Show stats say through 8 rounds, power punch connects 67 to 65 to Salka.
That seems right.
And he just added another right hand there.
They want Alvarez to be a little bit busier. Been more than 1,000 punches thrown in this fight.
I don't see a lot to suggest Salka's legs are dead. They're not. He's still got bounce.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. The reason I mentioned that last round is I thought that he was allowing Alvarez to come to him a little bit more, but not so much in this round. In fact, he's been the aggressor in this round.
The rounds in the second half of the fight, Barry, would you agree, have been much harder to score than the rounds in the first half?
Yes, I would absolutely agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, should this go to a decision. Right hand by Alvarez and another one.
Alvarez beginning to rage. I gave him the last 2 rounds. He's doing pretty well this round as well.
I gave him the last 2 rounds as well. I think this round is still there for the taking.
Alvarez can't afford to stand in front of Salka like that. When Salka's not moving laterally, Alvarez has to be punching. You know, he's slowing down a little bit too.
Uh-huh.
And has the referee, Barry Lawrence Cole, had to break them once the whole fight? Has there been one clinch?
I don't believe so.
I don't remember one. Good action fight because they're not clinching. They're both moving their hands.
We talk about a welt under the eye of Salka. There is one under the eye of Alvarez now, too, that I believe is starting to cut. It's an extremely close round. 20 seconds remaining. Round 9.
It's been a good last 30 seconds for Salka. Enough to win the round on my card anyway.
I'm having a debate with myself as to who to judge, who to give that round to.
This guy's gonna come out smoking, you feel me? Yep. So listen, keep your fucking move, keep moving, keep the lateral movement. I feel good that round. You look great, man. You look great. Listen, you look great, bro. Every now and then, Rod, you listening? I want you to throw the right hand and then come back with the left hook. Every now and then. Last round, Sean. I got you.
The fight is close. The fight is close, so you got to come up punching. But you got to come with everything. We got to win this fight. It's very close. Keep moving your waist. Do the thing correctly. Not like a crazy person. Move your waist and then throw your punches. You need to throw punches. He's going to come out strong. So don't do the jab out. Just keep.
So just stay back. Touch him up to the belt. Stay back.
It's the voice of Felix de Jesus translating in the corner. of Ricardo Alvarez. And we come to the final round, and the fight could be decided in these final 3 minutes.
And you have to ask, what are the judges going to like? It really sometimes comes down to what you like as opposed to what the fighters in the ring do, because Alvarez clearly has landed the harder punches. Salka clearly has landed more punches. In terms of that elusive term, ring generalship, I have to give Salka the advantage because he's been moving and the fight's been fought in the middle of the ring. He stayed off the ropes.
Alvarez doing what his corner suggested and throwing a lot of punches. Good body shot from Salka. He stayed right in there. Now they wanted Salka to keep moving here in the final round. 4-punch combination, Salka.
It was simple advice from Paul Spadafora, but it was good advice. Spadafora, a top fighter who fought as more of a boxer than a puncher, just suffered his first loss recently.
Counter right hand from Salka. Another combination, Salka.
I'm impressed with Salka that he's been able to have the discipline to fight this fight for 10 rounds. Moving way up in class. Fighting a long way from Pittsburgh when almost all of his fights have been in Pittsburgh. But of course, as I mentioned before, this is Alvarez's first fight out of Mexico.
He's making Alvarez miss in this final round. And again, a nice combination. And Alvarez misses with a left hand, and then has a right hand caught on the gloves of Salka. Salka digs a left to the body by Alvarez, and Salka right to the head. Right hand by Alvarez. And a left hand by Alvarez.
Every time you think Salka's dominating around, Alvarez lands something meaningful.
Another right hand by Alvarez. Coming down to the final 30 seconds of this fight, and I still think the fight could be decided in the last 30 seconds.
And the last 30 seconds are going to determine who wins the 10th round.
Right.
Because Alvarez has come on in the last minute. I think Salka's ahead comfortably enough that Alvarez needs a knockout, but it will not surprise me at all for the reasons I stated at the start of the round if the judges have it closer. One of those judges, Ruben Castillo, the former contender.
Right. Final 5 seconds. And it is over. And it is completely in the hands of the judges, and I mean a very close fight. I believe I have Salka winning the fight. And there is Canelo Alvarez, and a little bit of concern on his face. I don't think he thinks this is necessarily in the books.
No, that's for sure. He wasn't smiling. The stakes very high again for both guys because Ricardo Alvarez wants a title fight, and Salka fighting on television for the first time. He's been a regional fighter in Pittsburgh. The story of the fight can be summed up by the right hands landed by both guys. Salka really landed a very high percentage of his right hands, sometimes over the top. Alvarez, who's a big right-hand puncher, couldn't get the knockdown or the knockout with the right hand, yet when he did land the right hand, it emphasized the fact that he was the much harder puncher. So they both had success with the right hands, again from the side a little bit there from Salka. And Alvarez should have landed more right hands. He should have countered more against the low left hand and the jab of Salka, but he failed to do so for pretty much the whole fight.
I have Salka winning this fight 96-94.
I have the same exact score. It's in the hands of Castillo, as I mentioned. Prior to tonight, Ruben Castillo had worked one 4-round fight as a professional judge. So he's being put to the test here.
Here are the numbers in the fight. What do you think, Steve?
Well, clearly the total punches, you see a 329 punch edge for Salka, but the power shots, 1 punch difference. And power shots count more than jabs, let's face it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the judges have. Oren Schellenberger, a veteran judge of 18 years. Ruben Carrion, 5 years. He's worked world title fights. So a mix of experience in the judges, and it's going to be very much up to what they liked in this fight.
Yeah, I think so too. Going to be very interesting result. And We are ready with that decision, and we'll go to the center of the ring and Jimmy Lennon Jr. to tell us all about it. Jimmy?
Well, fans, after 10 rounds of action, here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Ruben Castillo scores the bout 95-95, even a draw. Overruled by judges Ruben Carrion, who scores the bout 96-94, and Oren Schellenberger, who sees it 98-92. In favor of the winner by majority decision, Ricardo Dinamita Alvarez.
An absolute disappointment in the corner of Dan Salka, Rod Salka, I beg your pardon, and I don't know. You know, I mean, you can make a case certainly for Alvarez, but 98-92, I'm sorry.
Oren Schellenberger, 8 rounds to 2. I thought Salka won the fight, period.
So did I.
You know, he didn't land the harder punches, but he fought the fight that he needed to fight. Alvarez was frustrated for long stretches, and Schellenberger, I mean, I don't have a problem with either of the other scores, even 96-94 for Alvarez, but Schellenberger 98-92. He scored Trot Canelo 5 points for Canelo. We all had that fight very close.
Now there you are.
There you go.